Ordinance number 1806, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, County Council, Section 231, Compensation of council members and officers, subsection A, establish and increase the compensation of council members and officers, establish the effective date of this ordinance. This is second reading. Does anyone wish to speak on ordinance number 1806? If not, I declare ordinance number 1806 closed. Ordinance number 1807 to impose a 1% sales and use tax subject to a referendum within Darlington County pursuant to the Capital Project Sales Tax Act. Define the specified purposes and designate the project for which the proceeds of the tax may be used to provide the maximum time for proceeding of the tax to provide for a countywide referendum and to describe the content of the valid question of such referendum, to authorize the referendum and the assurance of not to exceed $20 million fuel obligation bonds of Darlington County to provide for the conduct of such referendum, to provide for the administration of the tax, to provide for the payment of the tax, and to provide for other matters related to their second reading. Does anyone wish to speak on ordinance number 1807? If not, I declare ordinance 1807 closed. We'll call to order. Invocation, Mr. Douglas. Mr. Coker, pledge of allegiance.
Our Father, which art in heaven, most holy and everlasting Father, I want to thank thee, O Lord, for last night's rest and the thing of touch of wake of love this morning. And Father God, we're just asking you today to come in this building, and we've asked a blessing for each and every one that has attended it, O Lord. And Father, we've asked a blessing for the one that could have attended and would not attend. And Father God, we're asking you today to go with the homes, hospital, wherever the sick is, O Lord. Father, we're asking you to touch them, O Lord. We know that you have no medicine in your garment, any drugstore whatsoever. And Father God, we don't want you to forget about our boys, girls, men and women that's in foreign countries. O Lord, Father, we ask you to give them some guidance and strength so that they can see the light coming home one day. And Father God, we ask you to lead us and guide us through this meeting. In your name, say, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Since we are meeting for a second time at an unusual location, and we had two important public hearings, I would like confirmation we left some kind of notice at the regular place that we were meeting here, something in writing.
It was posted last time and this time on the, this is the third time, isn't it? It was posted both times on the door.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that. Please put that in the record.
Okay. Citizen comments. Steve.
I'm Steve Tinney, and I own the Oak Manor Inn in Hartsville. I want to thank you for allowing me these few minutes to speak as a member of the 2018 Darlington County Accommodations Tax Committee and my decision in awarding the tax generated by overnight hotel and inn guests. I do not speak for anyone on the committee other than myself, but I know firsthand as a committee member that all members study, this is it, the South Carolina Crystal Clear Guide regarding the awarding of the hospitality funds to events that promote and attract tourism. We also listen to the potential recipients after we study each application, and then as they present their case to us in person. I realize that as council members you have not attended these meetings, but you can imagine there are individuals, groups, and organizations that while promoting very worthwhile events for their community and their community only, do not meet the state's requirements as to awarding limited funds for tourism. Events that promote Darlington County tourism with guests staying overnight in our hotels and inns should be the only recipients. Obviously, those heads and beds, overnight stays are all that generates the accommodation tax funds. I personally believe it is my duty to Darlington County, the state, and to the owners of the hotels and the inns that pay this tax to award these funds to individuals and groups that obviously bring in overnight guests and have the attendance facts to support this. Just because a group requests the funds, they shouldn't automatically receive any money if they're not eligible. As a committee member, I have no personal agenda in making my awards recommendations. It's strictly on merit and doing what the state says that I should. Thank you.
Ms. Hannah Stanley?
Hi, I'm Hannah Stanley. I'm the Director of Sales at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Hartsville. I'm going to try to get this out quickly because I think I have a little bit more to say than Steve. But as the Director of Sales at the Hampton in Hartsville, I can tell you that we know exactly who's coming into town and what they're coming into town for. And I'm angry and frustrated by your decision to override our allocation request for this accommodations tax. We didn't look at the municipality when we were making the recommendations for the allocation of this money. And the reason why is because the money was not put into the pot proportionally by events per municipality. There are plenty of worthwhile events. I'll tell you, we had a motocross event that came, they all stayed at the Hampton Inn and Suites. I didn't know anything about this event, but after it was over, it was held in Society Hill. After it was over, I called them and I said, you need to apply for this accommodations tax because you deserve it. Your event is exactly what we want coming to Hartsville. So there are worthwhile events in other municipalities that we want to award this money to, but the ones that applied for it that we didn't give it to is because they did not meet the standard. We take it seriously. We got a request in the fall of this year for the $10,000 that Reno Fest didn't use, and we got a request that we move that money and give it to this group, and we decided to put that back in the pot because we didn't think it was fair for a first-time event who had put no money in the pot to receive this funds just based on our faith that they would have a large event that brought a lot of people to town. I want to tell you that I read the minutes from the last meeting, and I know that Mr. Flowers in particular said that his constituents did not benefit from the recommendations that we made, and I'm here to tell you that is not true. Just because you don't hand one of your constituents a check for this amount of money does not mean that they are not benefiting from it as a community. Kim Cranford, he is the only one that called me at the Hampton Inn and Suites and asked exactly how many people stay in our hotel. He's the one that has the information that we're looking for to make that recommendation. There were many applicants that did not give us any proof at all of heads and beds. So thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Council giving me time tonight. Gene Moore, I'm here on behalf of the Home Builder Association of PD and also as a member of the Westbrook Subdivision, which is located at Tracy's Golf Course, which is divided by the Florence County, Darlington County line. Some time ago, the building permits were increased by this council, and we understood there needed to be an increase. And I want to say, my group and I am not against the increase, but the increase was one that was several times over the building permit fees. Whether building a new home, building a shed in your backyard, or whatever, it went up tremendously. Georgetown County was at one time far and away the most expensive building permit fee county in the state. I think primarily because they didn't care about even growth, would like to limit it. But we leaped past them when they have the highest building permit fees in the state. And let me say this, unless the last few months some counties jumped at us that I'm not aware of. That's possible, but I don't think so. And when we look at our area, or Westbrook area, what we've seen is that people who have a home there, live in Darlington County. I looked up today several Darlington County homes, and the property taxes range from $1,200 to $2,600, averaging about $1,500, $1,600 a year in home taxes that people are paying there. So when they're told their building permit fee for a nice home there is going to be $3,500 to $4,000 versus if they build it over Florence County, it's $900 to $1,000, it's a factor in their decision. We think we're hurting our Darlington County properties, not just Westbrook where I'm concerned about, but across the county. And especially in the lower end, I'm told that everything I read is across the country, we have a real problem with affordable housing. And what we've done here is made affordable housing even more difficult, because when builders look at that and see it even on a more, the lower level construction, that the building permit fee is going to be large, it's a deterrent. And one of the previous meetings, a gentleman came in from the building permit office and said, well, we're still issuing permits. And I understood, and I'm sure that he's right about that. But what I want to say is this, if I had one gas station in the county, and you had to buy gas in my county, you could not leave Darlington County to buy gas. You had to buy gas at my station. If I raised gas to $10 a gallon, $15 a gallon, whatever, I could stand there and say, hey, I'm still selling gas.
Mr. Chairman, that's 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman.
I move to amend the agenda to bring forward executive session for the matter, for discussion of personnel matters.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move we go into executive session for discussion of personnel matters with members of council, our county administrator, and our attorney.
Need a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we had our executive session.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that we table ordinance number 18-04, third reading, generally called the county council budget.
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Consent agenda.
Yes.
All right, consent agenda, receipt of this information, Darlington County Beaver Program report.
So moved.
What's the requisition? Need a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Approval of minutes, need a motion?
So the motion to approve the minutes under section number 7.A and 7.B.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Kilgore?
Yes, sir. Ordinance 8.B, ordinance number 18-05, an ordinance to designate that agency in the county for alcohol and drug abuse plan. I'll tell you what, lighting in this room just gets worse and worse. I can't read it, too dark.
Ordinance 1805, ordinance to designate that agency in the county for alcohol and drug abuse planning for programs and to make appropriations pursuant to section 62740B and 1233245B and C of the 1976 Code of Laws of South Carolina as amended for Darlington County for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018 and ending July 30th, 2019. Third reading.
Move for approval.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a flashlight now, so maybe I can read
Okay.
it. 8C, ordinance number 18-06, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, County Council, Section 2-31, compensation of county members, council members, and officers, subsection A, established to increase the compensation of council members and officers and establish the effective date of this ordinance. This is second reading. I move the approval of the second reading.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend that ordinance to provide that the salary shall be as follows: for chairman, $14,000, for vice chairman, $13,000, and for regular members, $13,000.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Roll call.
Roll call, fine. Aye.
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 No.
Ayes have it.
Now we go on.
Now we vote on the motion as amended.
Aye.
Aye.
Favor?
No.
Ayes have it.
Eighteen D.
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-07 to impose a 1-cent sales tax and use tax subject to a referendum within Darlington County pursuant to the Capital Project Sales Tax Act, to define the specific purposes and designate the projects for which the proceeds of the tax may be used, to provide the maximum time for which the tax may be imposed, to provide the cost of the projects or facilities funded from the proceeds of the tax, to provide for a countywide referendum, and to prescribe the contents of the ballot question in such referendum, to authorize a referendum to the issuance of not exceeding $20,000 general obligation bonds to Darlington County, to provide for the conduct of such referendum, to provide for the administration of the tax, to provide for the payment of the tax, and to provide for other matters relating thereto. Second reading, I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
We have a discussion about it?
Yep, go ahead, sir.
I'm gonna vote no, because I still haven't seen the study on the remodeling. It's just my opinion. I just don't pay for things before I know how much it's gonna cost. I'm not gonna vote to allocate money to pay for something that hasn't been proven to me yet. It's just the way I feel.
All right, anyone else?
Mr. Stewart, will you have the information that we requested the studies before the third?
No, I don't believe you'll get those studies back in time to have a meeting before you'll be required to have this referendum question to the election commission. They didn't get approved the initial time, they got approved last month, and it could take up to 90 days. And I believe we have to have this question in by some date in August, and the plan was to be early to make sure we had it there by August 1st.
That's correct. I think it's got to be there by maybe August 15th or August, something like that. Three months before election.
It got to go in by June 12th. Right?
No, it's got to be deployed by August 15th, I believe, but we will do it August 1st to make sure we didn't get called the last couple of days and miss the deadline. And you may have the study back, but you very well may not. So if you don't keep making headway on this, you may get stuck, and then you'll be stuck again if you want to try to offer this up on a referendum.
And I understand all that. I don't do that.
Appreciate that.
All right,
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
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 Ayes have it.
AE, ordinance number 18-08, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, Development Services Ordinance, Article 15, Outdoor Advertising Signs, Section 15-1, Definitions, Section 15, Southern Digital and Electronic Changing Message Signs, and Section 15.8, Lighting Restrictions. To add digital and electronic changing message signs, billboards in the county, and to establish the effective date of this ordinance. First reading.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move to bring forward from the table item 8A, ordinance 18-04, third reading.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
But the
That was just bring it forward.
Yeah, now,
Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Which you read it.
I got it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Item 8A, ordinance number 18-04, an ordinance to make appropriations for ordinary county purposes for Darlington County for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30, 2019, to provide for the expenditures thereof and to provide for revenues for the payment thereof as amended, third reading. Move for approval of ordinance number 18-04.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to amend the third reading of the budget. The line items to be changed on the regular salary and wages from $111,496 to $137,130. FICA changes from $86,28 to $10,490. Police retirement change from $1,249 to $1,735. And reduce contingency by $31,304.
Second.
This is on the amendment.
Yes.
I vote aye for the amendment.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
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 No. No. All right. Ayes have it. All right, now we get to that.
Yeah. Now we vote on item 8A as amended.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I should have addressed this on item 8C, but I moved some, whatever. I think everyone needs to know that the last time county council members received an increase in pay was in January 1st of 1991, 27 years ago. When I was on council from 81 to 89, it was $4,000. Then it went up to $6,000 for a couple of years. And then council in the calendar year 1990 for the 90-91 budget, I guess that's what we call it, yeah, approved the increase to $7,000, where it has stayed for 27 years. Thank you. Aye.
Ms. Thomas?
Aye.
Aye.
No. Ayes have it. Okay. All that, go to resolutions. We have none. Committee reports, none other items. Appointments to board commission to fill vacancy fire term expiring June the 30th, 2018. Doug? Ms. Joyce?
Okay, Historic Commission, Sarah Smith Danby's, and Mr. Franklin Jordan, Parks and Recreation. I did not get a contact.
You reappoint both?
Yes, yes.
What about the other? What about the other?
Airport Commission.
It's carried over.
Carried over.
Yes, sir.
Construction board, Mr. Robert Wyndham, I'll have to carry that over. Historical commission is Beverly Darlene DeBose, to appoint her. Also reparations, who was after May 1 or 4 meetings. But anyway, planning commission, Chad White, I want to reappoint him also.
Carry over mine.
Flowers carry over. Mr. Nicholson's not here. Mr. Louis Brown.
Carry over.
Mr. David Coker.
Mr. Nett, the airport commission, do I need to reappoint that
Mr. Chairman, you know, we need to vote on these.
individual?
By council vote.
Go back to Ms. Joyce.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Mr. Flowers.
Beverly DeBose.
Mr. Bose. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Mr. Chad White, all in favor?
Aye.
No, ayes have it. All right, Mr. Flowers, you have carry over. Mr. Nicholson wasn't here. Mr. Brown, carry over. Mr. Coker.
Mr. Nett, that airport commission, do we have to reappoint that person, or is it just stay there, just?
If you did not reappoint the person will remain.
I got you. I want to leave the 3 there that are there, just to carry over the board assessment bills.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those ayes have it.
There's 3 plus.
County Council Economic Development Partnership, John Kimbrough. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Swift Creek Station, number 2, Robert Lee. All in favor, second. Okay. Ayes have it. Levy Station number 9, Charlie Raines. All in favor? Ayes have it. Middle Station number 13, Wally Owens. Ayes have it. Birdtown Station number 12, Justin Olson. Ayes have it. 53 for EMS, Charles Stewart.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as much as I respect Mr. Stewart,
I didn't even realize this was on here, to be honest with you.
okay, should we be looking for somebody else since you're now county
It
administrator?
wouldn't hurt.
Sir?
It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt at all.
Can we have a recommendation from EMS community?
I would say, how about not right this second?
Carry that one. Move carried over.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
11B, CTC, allocation of $109,777, $85 for road improvements to include drainage and paving, July Street, Racy Avenue, Jacoba Circle, and Bruce Street.
Move to approve CTC's allocation of $109,777.85.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
No.
I didn't see where, I have a question. Where Lodge Street was, I didn't see that in the,
That ain't Kansas.
where is it?
I can't.
That ain't Kansas.
It's not,
Out of that street.
but where is it? Is it in
Lodge
Kevin?
Street would be somewhere around.
Go
It's
ahead,
in
Bob.
Baytown subdivision off of McKeever Road,
Okay.
not here, I don't know if
So
I
that's
should.
yours. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so vote on that, all in favor, say aye. All opposed?
No, I will continue to vote no until they do something commanding.
Ayes have it. Sheriff's Office request to transfer unused salary fund to purchase 56 tasers, $96,005.32. Air conditioning unit, $12,000. 96 Glock 17s with 5-pack options, $20,000, 288. 100 holster, $7,655. A van for 56,883, and an evidence building for $200,000.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the sheriff's office request to transfer unused salary funds to purchase said items.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir, I have a question in reference to transfer unused salary funds to purchase 56 tasers, you got air conditioning units, so why are we transferring salary funds? And I'm thinking about people as far as, rather than buildings and equipment and all that, is all this in the same budget area?
It was all within the sheriff's department or the sheriff's budget. This money's left over for vacancies within these different, the detention center or the sheriff's office proper. And rather than not meet some of these needs, the opportunity is use money you've already budgeted for the sheriff's office's purpose, or the sheriff's purpose of the detention and sheriff's office, to meet some of those needs. So the money's coming from vacancies in approved positions right this minute. Now, I feel confident it's not his intention to keep those vacancies there.
Now, okay, you said the money is coming from approved vacancies.
Right, no, approved positions. From the already approved budget, the current in-place budget,
Current now.
where there were employees that weren't in place during this last budget year. We're at the very end of the budget year, and based on what we expect them to spend, or going back to reviewing the last 5 payrolls, there will be approximately $500,000 left because of all those vacancies. And it gives you an opportunity, sort of like using contingency funds at the end of the year to take care of some needs. it gives them an opportunity to use these funds and take care of some needs they have, so that we don't have to look at using capital fund money to do it next year. It doesn't change next year's budget. All that same amount of money you just approved in their budget next year for those positions. So by doing this, you haven't cut any position or stopped any employee from being hired or anything like that.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I abstained, I think that, my son probably threw up this material, so I.
What? He did. Okay. There.
The administrative update.
There are a number of things working, but I think one of the biggest things we've already mentioned, that they are working on the reports that y'all requested at last meeting about the status of remodeling this building, fitting it all into a larger building. Michael Baker is working on those contracts. It could be up to 90 days to produce that. Of course, the state has not passed their final budget, but I did confirm with the South Carolina Association attorney lobbyists today that while they may have some little floaters that could change what we get funded on a very mild level, all of the big items that go up to government fund, what we're going to have to pay for retirement, all those things don't seem to be negotiated now. Nothing's done until it's done. But should something crazy happen, we make amendments to the budget if necessary. But unfortunately, I don't think they come back to sign a date until the last week of June. So that wouldn't leave you time to meet and do anything either way. So we went ahead and moved ahead with our budget. I will tell you the renovations due to the flood, the region you have to meet up here, the flood within the building, the first pipes, is just about complete. I think a couple more days.
Yeah, supposed to make them on.
Just a couple more days at the most, so the next meeting we should be back in your normal location. I will tell you also that the timber chase work is underway, and I don't report to you on all CTC work because that's a separate thing, but timber chase was a special thing y'all took up and prepared, and they're telling us, Mr. Bobby, by this week sometime they'll be done?
They're saying by the end of Wednesday.
By the end of Wednesday, but hopefully by the end of the week, they'll be done with that. I don't want to call it paving, that triple treatment, which is originally what was out there, and y'all authorizing the CTC
That's
system.
what David and.
That's what David pushed for very hard, yes, Mr. Cooper. And that's all I really have for you. There's several other things that we'll have more information on for July. Just don't have it back yet.
Request comments, members of council, Mr. Coker.
I just want to reiterate what Mr. Stewart said, the timber chase subdivision is moving along nicely. They've got the first layer down as of today. We'll have the second layer tomorrow, and the third layer middle of the week, toward the end of the week, should be finished. I just want to thank each of you for helping me get that passed, because they really needed it. It was a very needed job. I also want to thank the sheriff and his people for showing up in uniform. I feel safer. I just appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have.
I would like to just echo what Mr. Moore said. I feel like it's hard to quantify the excessive fees. It is, I agree with Mr. Moore, it's easy to say that people are still building homes, but I do look at, one of the things that the county has really got to look at from a competitive and economic development standpoint is quality of life, which encompasses a lot of things, and I think the housing industry is one. I don't have a specific number in mind, but somewhere I think we have to take time to look at how punitive this potential is. And I don't think it's necessarily as much as in some municipalities, and maybe some of the rural areas. And I think Lamar specifically, or close to the Florence County, Darlington County line is one area that I think we could grow the county. We're in a very competitive situation with economic development and retaining. There are a lot of demands from the industry we have with the expectation of affordable housing at all ranges. So I would like for us this year to take a much deeper dive into somebody smarter than me, looking at what kind of impact those fees are having. If it is detrimental to housing developments. Secondly, I also echo what Mr. Coker said about the courthouse. It's an interesting dynamic. I went back and read through the minutes, and I did not catch this the first couple of times, but there was a comment in from Mayor Ward saying if there's, this potential to move the courthouse out, that it would be voted against, and then there's just a lot of vagueness in there. I would like to, Mr. Stewart, any pressure we put on having as much specific information, getting those, I know you're kind of the person they are, but
Engineers, I think they've got to do their job.
I understand, but I'd like to narrow that gray area down as much as we can. I think the referendum has a much fairer outcome.
Now, you certainly will have information before the referendum.
Okay.
You might not have it before you need to get the question set before the referendum.
I'm okay, as long as the voters have clear information in that referendum is one time. Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to say that I appreciate serving on county council. And just a blanket statement, when I go around and see what's going on in the county, I just go for my information. I don't go to bother nobody. I just need to know where things are and who does what, because I'm just familiarizing myself with what happens in the county. And I tell you what, I've been very busy, and I got, like, to thank the coding and planning department. They're doing a super job, because I've been complaining about the things, and I mean, it's going on. You just don't know all the time. And in the library, you just can't, you have a wealth of knowledge in that library. And what's so good about that, and I have not seen this in any other libraries across the state, they have a wish list that you can go and just write a wish thing down. So you just put it in the box, and I'm sure they'll get to it. And the fire district, we have a superb fire district. I was able to, I passed by it, I stopped back out there on Center Road, and I, went in. And I mean, we have some great buildings, we have some super employees, and I just appreciate it. I don't know, maybe other folks don't get a chance to go around and visit like I do, but I do take it very serious. And also the administrative staff, the historical commission, and you all know, we need to get information out to families, departments, and people, because family reunions are now, and there's a wealth of knowledge there. And it's just so good, and we need to kind of know what's going on. Of course, these people, I know you know a whole lot going on, but, and flyers, we need to just promote ourselves. Darlington County, we're good. I think so. And finally, I'd like to thank Mr. Stewart for working with me on PD, Regional Council Government. In District 2, there's terrible drainage problems, and I think it's probably all over everywhere, but I'm really concerned with that, because that's a goal that I would like to see finished sometime before I leave the county. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope that you had a chance to visit the Voter Registration and Election Commission new building that is now in operation. Hopefully all of the electronic material will be up and running for June 12th. It's something that we put together, y'all approved, and it's going to be beneficial not only to Mr. Campbell, but it's going to be beneficial to the voters of Darlington County. I think that we're going to be looking towards the necessity of purchasing new voting equipment sometime before 2020. That's going to cost several $1 million, and we probably need to start looking toward putting some money aside for that. That equipment was first implemented, I believe, in 2002 or 2004, and I don't know anybody who's still using a computer that was built in 2002 or 2004. So you have to look at it that way. Get a chance, go down. If you haven't seen it, go down there and look at it. There's one person in here, and if somebody else has done this, you please correct me. There's one person in here I've known just about all my life, and had the fortune to teach her at Florence Darlington Tech some years ago. And on May 10th, she walked down the aisle as a graduate of Florence Darlington Technical College. And so Our own employee, Ms. Rosina James, I just wanted to say thank you for sticking it out. So, with that, I have nothing further to say.
Yield back.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Richardson for the hard work out there, Tim Chase as well. I really appreciate that extra effort you put to keep those people in your thoughts. I appreciate it. You too, Mr. Stewart. Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.